This is Jeff Mucci with RCR Wireless News. We're in Palo Alto today meeting with Tad Bogdan, who is Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer with Ecrio. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Oh, I'm glad to be here, Jeff.
So Ecrio apparently unlocks rich communication services for carriers. What does that really mean, and how do you do it?
Well, actually what we do is we do it on the device side. Mm-hmm. So right now carriers are launching these rich communication services like VoIP, video on demand, content sharing, push-to-talk, location-based presence services, different services like that. Now, the back-end infrastructure that the operators are launching can provide the back-end capabilities for managing that. What we do is on the device side. To complete this whole picture, you need to be able to enable application developers to use these services through the device. Now, to do that, first of all, you could write an application in Java.
Right.
You could write it in Flash. You could write it in Ajax for widgets. But it's very rare to find someone who knows how to actually write the calls and the sequences to use any one of these services. It would take a long time. It's expensive to find the people to do it. So what we do is provide to the app developers a simple command set. It's about 3 pages worth of commands where any of those developers in Java and the other languages can write that command without having to know what the underlying device is or the platform operating system on the device. So it could be Windows on a PC, Windows Mobile, Android, Symbian, other application environments, and we basically unlock that capability and make it simple for them to write applications to.
So who are you actually selling to? And what's the sell process and buy cycle look like for the buyer?
Typically, we sell to the operators themselves. And for instance, at Docomo, the first SIP IMS service that was ever commercially deployed was deployed by Docomo, and they used our technology. So they licensed that from us. There are over 50 million devices that have been deployed using our technology on them. And so they were using one specific service, one of the ones that I mentioned before.
Right.
In fact, a couple of weeks ago, Verizon just announced that they've chosen our framework across devices and from current network EHRPD all the way through their LTE plans that they're launching. So we typically work with the operators because they want these capabilities to enable applications on the phone. They then will talk to the device manufacturers and say, put this on the device.
Okay.
And if it's an open environment, it can actually be installed post-deployment to the consumer. If it's closed, typically, we work with the device manufacturers to install it before it's deployed.
Right. And so it's client-based.
Yes.
So the operator licenses your product. They work with, tell the device manufacturer, ODMs, to put it on their device, and it's shipped with the product on it, or it can be synced or over the air, downloaded later. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Can you give us some more examples of how your framework is helping some carriers unlock that value and create new revenue streams?
Well, they're deploying it right now. One example is with Docomo. They deployed it on for a push-to-talk application.
Okay.
We've got another carrier, this one in Asia, that in the next couple of months is going to be commercially launching a set-top box that will have IPTV, and it will have one or more of our services included in it.
Okay.
So these are some commercial examples of it. Now, the framework that enables this abstraction layer of the ability for the app developers to develop independent of the platform, we actually just released that. So that's something that was announced about 3 weeks ago. It's already been licensed by a couple of the main carriers. We mentioned that Verizon has selected it, Docomo has licensed it already, and there are several other carriers that are very excited and interested because this is how they enable some of the value-added service revenues from applications, and then also really the better utilization of the LTE networks.
Okay. You brought some hardware back from Mobile World Congress. Can you tell us a little bit about the award?
Yeah, we're pretty excited about this. This is the RCS Dev Challenge. It was a contest a couple of weeks ago that was sponsored by the GSMA.
Right.
And it was there were actually 3 categories for it. One of them was the best RCS, which is Rich Communication Services, RCS Mobile Client. Another one was the best RCS PC Client. The other one was Best Innovation.
Right.
We were the only company that was a finalist for more than one category. So we were a finalist for the Best PC Client.
Right.
And we were the winner of the Best Mobile Client.
Right.
And what's really interesting about that is that we're not really an application developer per se. We provide the framework that allows you to use these services, to bring them alive with the IP capabilities. And so we went to an app developer and said, okay, here's what we can do on top of a device.
Right.
Develop something to show. GUI, an example of an application around it, and within a week, and this would have taken months and extra layers of expertise, but within a week, they developed an application that was good enough to win the competition.
And also work on all devices.
Yes.
So does your product also address one of the problems that we have today, in that if I'm an app developer and I get certified on the App Store, I have to also make sure my device works on Android and iPhone and all the other devices out there. So I've got cost and time associated with that development process and getting it certified for different devices and app stores. Does your platform allow developers to bypass that process and basically eliminate the cost of having to have their product certified on multiple different app stores?
Yes, for these services. I mean, we're very specific to the IP services, the IMS type of services for the rich communications. So for that part of the application compatibility, absolutely. The app developer uses a single command, and that will run independently of what platform and what type of device it's running on.
Tell us a little bit more about the history of the company. When was it founded? Who are your investors?
Sure.
That sort of thing.
The company was founded 10 years ago, and it's a technology company. Started out with a writing scribe type device for the Palm, and which was very successful. That technology was sold off many years ago, and what the company did is quickly evolved into a communications technology company. And so this was, Docomo was the first customer, and then for the communications, some other Asian customers. The U.S., as I mentioned, we've been, Verizon has licensed our technology over the last few years, but really their formal announcement just came out 2 weeks ago. And it came from Verizon, their announcement for the selection of the technology. So the company's been around for a long time. As I mentioned, as far as deployed devices for SIP IMS, over 50 million have been deployed. We were the earliest, we're the first, and what we saw is a need for, instead of specific services and technologies, to create this platform that basically goes across all of the different services and capabilities. So the company has evolved, and right now, as LTE is really coming forward in the back-end capabilities, this is where we're really seeing the demand and the timing for this. Is we've been working on this for years. The capabilities are just coming out. In countries like Japan, they've had SIP IMS capabilities for years, which is where we started with the licensing. But now the rest of the world is really catching on to this.
How are you funding operations today?
Well, we've raised some rounds of funding. The last round was at about $24 million. And some of our customers were the investors. Some of the early investors reinvested. So we've got some firms like Nexit and Noventi, JIC in Japan, who've invested in the company. But then in that last round, we had investors like Docomo invested. Also Visa. We're one of the products that we're doing is we're developing most of Visa's client-side VMA applications. So some of the things that Visa is going to be offering to the financial service industry. So we're doing that development as well.
What else can we expect new and exciting from the company?
Well, I think this has just been launched, the Fast Track framework.
Right.
So really what's going to be exciting now is the deployment and the ability of applications to start using this. So for instance, some applications like let's take a financial service, a payment type application. You could enable this application on your phone to send you an alert if there's a suspicious transaction or any transaction that takes place. If it's suspicious, instead of just a reply to it or an email, using Fast Track and Rich Communication Services, you could open up a live video or VoIP chat with a support agent. Other applications, like a gaming application or a social networking type of application, there you could do things in the game like have interactive buttons, multitasking, not single task session based with a just a web browser, but be able to really do multitasking, communications, VoIP, video type of an interaction with one of the other game players or people in your social network, and have a voice chat with another one, a text with another one. You can do all of those on the phone. So the next really is, the creativity of the app developers.
Got it.
And in fact, next year for this Dev Challenge, we're not so much interested in winning it, is that what we want to do is provide this platform for the other app developers and see which one could win using our framework and platform.
Great. Ted, thanks for coming by this morning.
Enjoyed it. Thanks a lot.